All right, y'all. Bill Maher's at it again. He is at it again. He's now made it his personal mission to smear all of the pro-Palestine protesters around the country. He's doing the cranky old man get off my lawn bit now. You know, he loves to I'm the fucking enlightened centrist, bro. I got the truth on my side, and I don't agree with the left. I don't agree with the right. I'm above it all, bro. I'm above it all. So this new rule segment, as you're about to see, the argument is, man, you idiots don't even understand. These protesters are just narcissists. They're just selfish. That's why they're doing what they're doing. Let's watch.
And finally, new rule. Someone needs to tell the people who block traffic in the name of a cause, no one likes you. And you're probably hurting your cause.
I find it funny when they do this, like, I'm going to give these protesters advice on how to do it bit, when he doesn't agree with the protesters anyway. Yeah, take the good faith advice from me, the guy who hates your cause, on how you can advance your cause. And if I was Bill Maher at this point in time, I wouldn't be talking about nobody liking people. Because he's sort of on the top of that list, isn't he?
Activists for ending the war in Gaza have taken to gathering on roads and bridges and stopping commuters from crossing. It happened last week in New York and San Francisco, Chicago, Seattle. They also blocked traffic here on the 405, but no one noticed. What they did notice was this, that you have to be pretty dumb to think that the way to bring people around to your point of view is to make them late to pick up their kids from daycare. And that's what most normies are thinking. I have a kid. I have a job. And yes, I'm sure there are injustices on both sides in the Middle East, as there are injustices all over the world. But I'm going to be late for work, something you protesters on the bridge seem to have the luxury of not having to worry about, which seems kind of privilegey.
Oh, yeah, Don Lemon. Yeah, smugly shake your head, you bitch. Look, here's the thing. I have no problem with critiquing the tactics and the strategies of protesters. In fact, I do it all the time. We've had these debates, we've had these discussions, and I have a very strong and rigid hierarchy of like what I think is the best way to protest, and it's very clear which ways are least likely to affect a positive outcome. So I'm open to that conversation. I'm open to that discussion. But let's be clear. What Maher is doing here is laundering his hatred for their cause through strategy mongering, right? Like, oh, I'm not sure you're going about this the right way. Let me give you the way that you can do this where it would actually be. You support the carpet bombing of Gaza. Let's put that front and center, right? So what do you have? Oh, they're unemployed, these people. They're lazy. As it says in the title, they have collective narcissism. So now it's not just disagreeing with strategy. You are smearing their intentions and their character. And that I won't abide. Look, I agree that a better way to protest is to, like a lot of these people did, block the ships that are going to go to Israel that have all the weapons. I agree that the best way to protest is interrupt a Joe Biden speech, interrupt a Nancy Pelosi speech, interrupt a Trump speech. I agree that that's better. I agree that that's better. But you bet your ass, if they did only that, Maher would still be out there saying the same fucking thing. That they're narcissists and they're unemployed and they're lazy and they're authoritarian and they don't believe in free speech. Jonathan Chait wrote an article about the protesters interrupting Joe Biden and said, this is authoritarian, this is illiberal. Well, then how the fuck do you want people to protest a genocide? If they can't protest politicians directly, if they can't block ships with weapons going to bomb children, what the fuck can they do? You can sit there silently in a corner where nobody will ever see you or notice you, and you can do your goofy little chants, and then that's it. And nothing will change, nothing will get done, but I'll pat myself on the back for finding a way to neutralize the protests. That's what this is about.
Your hands to the street, because your hands don't have to do any work today.
By the way, Bill Maher, real hard worker. I don't know if you guys know that. Mr. fucking, I do one show a week where I give my opinions. Oh yeah, Bill. You're the real beating heart of America, you fucking prick.
I'm not saying there aren't sincere passions about Gaza, especially among people from the region, but social justice warriors, for a lot of them it seems like it's more about the warrioring than about whatever the cause is. If you really cared about apartheid so much, which Israel does not actually practice, Arabs there vote, they serve in parliament, they sit on the judiciary.
How does the West Bank work, Bill? Gaza is an open-air prison. Everybody knows that. How does the West Bank work? There absolutely is apartheid. And it's not me saying it. It's all the top human rights groups in the world saying it. God, he's such a liar. And now he's going to do it. Why don't you protest Muslim country? Well, first of all the people who want to boycott Israel, in my experience, they also want to boycott Saudi Arabia, right? That's point number one. Point number two is, because we fund and back Israel, you absolute moron. Since we arm it and fund it, we are at least partly responsible for their actions. Same with Saudi Arabia, which is why all these people want to do a boycott of Saudi Arabia too. But it's the whataboutism. Well, look at other bad things happen in the world. Got you.
With the hundreds of millions of women in the world who live under a true apartheid, a gender apartheid of the most brutal kind.
The word is fucking apartheid, not apartheid, you literal-minded bitch.
I'll wait.
My joke didn't land because I'm a smug asshole? That's on you. That's your fault, okay? Look at this guy's face. Look at this fucking loser. Look at his face. Look at his face. Oh.
Are you really speaking truth to power, or do you just think you look cool in a keffiyeh?
By the way, Maher started it. Now there's 17 different flavors and varieties of these sort of absolute losers who are out there speculating about the true psychological reason, the intentions of these protesters. And people are, oh, they want to get laid. They want to be cool. They want to fit in. That's why they're doing what they're doing. Spare me the armchair psychoanalysis, okay? Spare me the Freudian psychobabble bullshit. I think what's happening here is people are tired of seeing babies die from carpet bombing. Yeah, it gets a little sickening when you see the 17th kid being pulled out from underneath the rubble. That is plenty enough for people to care enough to get out in the streets and protest over this. But they can't fathom that. You want to know why? Because they're the selfish ones. They're the narcissistic ones. He's the one who morally fucking preens and postures on TV every single week. He's the guy who does it. These protesters are taking time out of their lives, and even though he won't acknowledge it, they are busy lives. These are the people who are taking time out of their lives to say, hey, stop mass murdering. It's the most understandable and reasonable reason to protest, but they still get smeared as being narcissistic and selfish. Really? The king of fucking narcissism himself is going to accuse others of being narcissistic?
It's really just the new Che Guevara t-shirt. Another historical figure you never researched and so think is a hero, but was actually a sadistic, racist monster fighting for communism, the worst form of government ever. But these are small matters.
Yeah, I'm sure Bill Maher is really studied up. He's a big-time intellectual when it comes to stuff like Che Guevara and his history.
Small matters when activism merges with narcissism. Less about the cause and more about me. Look at me. Watch me. And if you like...
Your show is literally watch me. I'm going to give my opinions. I'm the contrarian prick. That's your whole fucking brand. God damn, glass house, motherfucker.
I'm fighting injustice. Remember to like and subscribe.
Put on a YouTube video where there's a like and a subscribe button right underneath your dumbass. The name of the show is Real Time with Bill Maher. You've made a career out of doing the narcissism shtick. And you're attacking others because they're doing that. They're not. But they're doing that to stop a genocide. Even if they were doing it with the intentions of like, I'm going to let everybody know that I'm anti-genocide and virtue signal about it, that's still better than being on the wrong side of this. Oh my God. Oh, I'm going to have an aneurysm.
In February, a sad, confused man even lit himself on fire in front of the Israeli embassy. And in his last Facebook post, he said, many of us like to ask ourselves, what would I do if I was alive during slavery? Interesting cocktail question, sir. And I guess the right answer is kill myself.
What a smug asshole. He's talking about Aaron Bushnell, right? I would like Maher to engage honestly with his hypothetical and also engage honestly with the notion of like some German person living in Nazi Germany knowing about the Holocaust and the atrocities, and then they light themselves on fire in protest of it. What would he say about that? What would he say about that? My guess is it wouldn't be snide fucking bullshit like he's saying here.
Have actually fixed the problem if General Ulysses S. Grant had immolated himself and his last words were, hey, Lincoln, are you using that log?
General Ulysses S. Grant. He was in a war. He was in a war. Are you saying that these pro-Palestine protesters should pick up arms and fight a war against Israel? Is that what you're saying? Because that's the analogy here. If you're going to compare a war to these protests, what you're saying is, well, it would have won it for them if they picked up arms and they went into a war with Israel. Is that what you want? God, he's not even trying. Look at this guy's fucking chompers. Look at this guy. Is this guy from that movie Get Out? He looks like he's from that movie Get Out. I would vote for Obama a third time if I could.
And then last week, another sad, confused man set himself on fire at the Trump trial in New York. So you can tell yourself you're a martyr for the Palestinian cause, but it's a lot less special when the next guy does it for Stormy Daniels.
Okay, but that's not even why he set himself on fire. Oh, God. You know, he's just making jokes. He doesn't even care about the facts of the case. That guy was just a general all-around conspiracy theorist. What he did had nothing to do with Trump. He just wanted the most eyeballs on it, so he did it outside the Trump trial. I don't know why I'm bothering to, like, honestly respond in a factual manner to this absolute goon. Look at him.
I don't want to diminish how sad it is that someone would take their own life for any reason, but maybe from now on, before anyone commits an act of civil disobedience, they should ask themselves a few questions, like, is the most important thing in my life something I hadn't heard of 6 months ago? Do I even know?
Yeah, I think the most important thing in everybody's life is if there's an ongoing genocide, and we are arming it, and we are funding it, and we are backing it, to do everything we can to stop our government from arming and funding it and backing it. And maybe get some war crimes charges rolled out there to arrest people like Netanyahu and Smotrich and Ben-Gvir and the top Israeli generals and commanders. Yeah. I think that is more important than anything. You know, I got a lot of hobbies. I got a lot of things I love, right? I'm a big golfer. I try to golf as much as I possibly can, even though I have, you know, busy schedule, busy life, all that stuff. Is stopping a genocide more important than me hitting a little white ball around a field? Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, you can make an argument, of course, that like your own family and your own kids, protecting them, taking care of them, that's number one, and that's fair, and I think everybody agrees with that. But just outside of that, stopping the arming and funding of a literal genocide and ethnic cleansing, that is the most important thing. In fact, I'd go as far as to say it's fucking obvious that that's the most important thing. But we live in an era now, we live in an age which is so fucking immensely disconnected, so atomized. Everybody is so individualistic that a lot of the times just, I don't know, that has nothing to do with me. Whatever you look at anything, that's got nothing to do with me. If there's like, we could have like a colossal mass shooting today, it wouldn't make as big of a splash as, you know, the previous 48 of them. Because we've had so many mass shootings so many times that if it happened somewhere else, just like, well, it wasn't me, it wasn't my family, so, you know, what are you going to do? There was a time when if there was a mass shooting, it would be a big, oh my God, this is a big deal. We need to do something about this. Everybody's at risk. Let's pass some gun reform or whatever. Now it's just like yawn and everybody keeps moving. And that's how people are looking at genocide now too. To be fair, it's really the politicians who are overwhelmingly lined up on the wrong side of this. And the polling data, the people are on the right side, but somebody could be on the right side and just sort of be like, I think this is wrong. What am I going to do about it, right? Then some people stand up and actually try to do something about it, and he tries to smack them back down.
Do I even know what the fuck I'm talking about?
You definitely don't. That's for sure.
Am I really here for the cause, or is the cause here to bring you me? Hey, if it makes you feel good to cosplay as revolutionaries, knock yourself out. Burn yourself out. Just don't drag Gaza into it.
Loathsome.
So, throwing stuff on paintings is just stupid.
Look, I critique that protest too. But there's no way these people could protest where he would say, I agree with you, because he disagrees with them on the substance. He's a Zionist. He's a dyed-in-the-wool Zionist. He loves Netanyahu. He defends Netanyahu. He's interviewed Netanyahu and thrown softballs down the center of the fucking plate. That's what's at the core of this. Spare me your fucking, you know, strategy nitpicking bullshit.
No one sees mashed potatoes on a Monet and thinks, he's got a point, I should recycle my cans. Last week, Google employees staged a sit-in to protest their company doing business with Israel. Their T-shirts said, Googlers against genocide, but they could have just as well said, look at me, see me. And Google did see them to the door.
Look at these guys.
They fired all 28 of them the next day. Yes, Cajonte Award coming to you guys next year.
Mr. Free Speech. Mr. Free Speech. All of a sudden, not a concern at all about free speech. Those people were trying to get Google to divest their financial entanglements with Israel. Perfectly reasonable. It's like during the midst of apartheid South Africa, working at a company that works with South Africa, trying to get them to cut off ties. Perfectly reasonable. He says, no, that's a fireable offense. What happened, Bill, Mr. Free Speech? These people all flip on a fucking dime, man.
But Maybe the question that today's protester needs to ask themselves more than any other is, why do I care so much about this particular cause? North Korea starves its people. China
We don't fund them.
puts them in concentration camps. Myanmar brutalizes the Rohingya.
We don't fund them.
Haram kidnaps whole villages of women. The
We don't fund them.
president of Burundi says gays should be stoned to death because they, quote, deserve it.
We don't fund them.
Nothing? Ukraine? Maybe if these
We are funding Ukraine.
Google employees have the slightest idea what kind of fundamentalist, oppressive assholes they're supporting, Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, they might take it a little easier on the world's greatest monster, Genocide Joe.
I'm going to take my arm off with a fucking hatchet. I'm going to take my arm off with a hatchet. I'm going to shove my leg in a fucking meat grinder. What are we doing here? All these protesters support Hamas and the Houthis and Iran. All the protesters just want to stop Israel from carpet bombing babies with our weapons. Full stop. Full stop. I can't, man. Why do I bother? I don't know why I do this job. I don't know why I do it. I don't. His points are so bad, it's making me rethink the ability for anybody to convince anybody else of anything. That's how bad they are. Because he knows all this is bullshit. He knows all this is bullshit. He knows that these pro-Palestine protesters on college campus aren't fucking out there saying glory to Hezbollah, right? Like,
Genocide, by the way, is when you want to wipe out an entire people. That's the
in whole or in part. Srebrenica, there was 6,000 people killed. That's considered a genocide.
goal of Hamas. That's what from the river to the sea means. Hamas would do that to Israel, but can't. Israel could do that to them, but doesn't.
They are doing that. They are fucking doing over 40,000, 42,000 Palestinians killed. 2 million Gazans now homeless because of Israel's ruthless carpet bombing campaign. A total medieval siege. They are doing that. And this asshole, even if Israel were to kill 2.3 million Palestinians, he'd be like, well, they were defending themselves. And to the idea, Hamas wants to wipe Israel off the map. Yeah, they do. And the core of that is the occupation. And there have been times when they say, hey, man, we'll take the 67 borders. And what does Israel do? No, fuck you. You're not getting that either. You are breeding the sort of resentment and hatred towards Israel that you say you're against. You're breeding it. The 2018 Great March of Return, they tried to be peaceful. Palestinians tried to be peaceful, and they got fucking sniped and murdered. So now they fight back violently, and you're like, oh, terrorists, kill them all. And by the way, let's be clear, Hamas, they don't have the firepower to take out fucking 10% of Israel, never mind all of Israel, whereas Israel is armed to the teeth, and they are taking out all of Gaza. His view of the situation is so fucking warped, it is mind-numbing.
You know,
oh, yeah. Oh, Hamas bad. Oh, what a fucking hero you are. How brave you are. Oh, yeah. I'm going to clap for Hamas being bad. Oh, yeah. Well, throw in Al-Qaeda being bad, too, you fucking courageous man. Oh, yeah.
know how you could find that out? Google it.
All right. You guys get the gist of it. He's getting worse. He's getting worse by the day. He's got Republican brainworms. He's one of the most hardcore Zionists I've ever seen. He's not even trying to understand where these protesters are coming from. He's smearing them as all narcissistic and selfish and lazy and unemployed and every negative thing under the sun. And you know what? Here's the final point I'll make. You think all these arguments weren't used against the anti-Vietnam War protesters at the time? You bet your ass they were used. In fact, here's a little clip of Bill Maher on Politically Incorrect. It might surprise you what side of the Vietnam War, what his position was on the issue of the Vietnam War. Watch this.
Hearing nothing but Vietnam the last couple of weeks, and I have to tell you, it bothers me that there is this conventional wisdom that is in every article I hear, every article I read, every news report I hear about Vietnam was a wasted war. We should never have gone. I've said many times on the show, I thought it was a necessary war. You know.
So the guy who's concerned trolling, oh, you're not doing the protest the right way. Oh, let me help you with better tactics. He's just against their position. He's pro-Israel. He's a Zionist. He wants to see Gaza wiped out. That's why he's taking the position he's taking. It's not good faith criticism about you're doing the strategy wrong. And by the same token, now he postures, oh yeah, I was Mr. Lefty for a while. He was pro-Vietnam War. So the same arguments, by the way, that everybody was making about the Vietnam War protesters are lazy and unemployed and selfish and narcissistic. He would have been right there fucking cheering it along because he's telling you here, I think Vietnam was a necessary war.
Very nice for Ronald Reagan, an actor playing the president, to go over to the Berlin Wall and say, tear down that wall. That is not what won the Cold War. That was a wonderful money shot. It's true. It was a good photo op. What won the Cold War was we demonstrating to the bullies of the world that we would put ourselves on the line and spend lives. The Vietnam War didn't have to happen in Vietnam, but it had to happen somewhere.
They went in and wasted lives, and all you know, I got family on the wall. These are wasted lives.
Wait a second. Sometimes wasted lives are unwasted lives. In Korea, they fought a battle called Hill 53. And when it was over, they said, it had no strategic value. Why did we fight it? And the guy said, that's the point. It had no strategic value. We had to... We were willing to do that.
Look at baby Kyle. Look at that little chunky boy. Okay, anyway. Dark, dude. So dark. He was pro-Vietnam War. Now he's pro-genocide in Gaza. And we'll end with this. The other asshole that was on the panel, the guy who looks like he's from the movie Get Out, and he would vote for Obama a third time while supporting carpet-bombing Palestinian babies. Professor says college students aren't having enough sex, so they're turning to anti-Israel protests. So we got, they're lazy, they're unemployed, they're narcissistic, they're selfish, and they're just trying to get laid. I'm a big believer in Occam's razor. The most straightforward answer is usually the correct answer. Occam's razor in this instance is people are tired of seeing toddlers get carpet bombed. That might not motivate these people because they're loathsome, immoral assholes, but it motivates us. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.